Is 35mm film worth shooting in the year 2026? That's what I want to answer in today's video because personally, I love shooting film, but with the cost of film stocks, film cameras, film lenses continuing to rise year over year, is it economically worth shooting film anymore? Let's find out. I just got home from an 8-day trip over to Europe. I live in Southern California and I was going off to the Netherlands for a diving competition, and I knew on this trip that I'd want to explore a little bit of Europe because I haven't been to Europe in a long time. And I knew for this trip specifically, I wanted to document everything using my Minolta X-570 and some 35mm film. Specifically for this trip, I brought Kodak Ultramax 400. It's a film stock I've used on a lot of trips in the past, specifically with this Minolta X-570, and I love this combo. I think it looks great. The color science in that film stock is really pleasing to me. It leans warmer, which is something I love. So the first few days over in Europe, I was in Eindhoven at the Eindhoven Diving Cup, which is a meet that happens every single year. I got invited to compete this year, and this was my first time competing in diving internationally since 2020 when I was in Madrid, Spain. But this video is not talking about diving. We're gonna skip all of that and just cut straight to the days after the competition, where I started in Eindhoven, then went to Belgium, and then finished in Amsterdam. If I'm being honest, I didn't shoot a lot of images in Eindhoven specifically. I was really trying to save my film for the days in Antwerp, Bruges, and Amsterdam, so here's just a little bit of what I was seeing. The whole trip was supposed to be rainy and gray, no sunshine, but when I was exploring Eindhoven, I actually got a little bit of sunlight, which was really nice and really warmed up my images. Here it is, Dr. Foot's Zero Sugar. Let's see how this goes. Let's get the sound. Sounds like a soda. Tastes like barbecue water. It's not amazing, but it's not bad actually. I'm glad we don't have Dr. Foot's at home because I feel like Dr. Foot's would actually grow on me or on my foot. What up? 7 a.m. here in the Netherlands. I'm competing just after 11 a.m., so about 4 hours or so. Got 4.5 hours of sleep. I did not sleep well at all. I was up for, I think in a row, like 3.5 to 4 hours in the middle of the night. Just couldn't sleep, so a little tired, but we're gonna get coffee, breakfast, and then full send the event. But after the competition in Eindhoven was done, I packed up everything, got on the train, and headed towards Antwerp, Belgium. When I got to Antwerp, it was almost the middle of the night, so I didn't pull out my camera and take any photos. I just found a restaurant, got some dinner, a drink, and watched the Olympic opening ceremonies. The next morning, I woke up, made sure my film camera was ready to go, and was excited to explore a city I'd never been to. I was alone on this trip, so every day I kind of could go at my own pace. And my own pace personally is wake up stupid early, spend all day outside of the hotel, and see as much as I possibly can. I got lucky in Antwerp. The sun was out that morning. It was a really beautiful day, and I really enjoyed walking around and just seeing all the sights. I don't think any of my images are amazing, but I wasn't taking images to really be as artistic as I possibly could. I was really in tourist mode and simply just wanted to capture what I was seeing on film rather than just my iPhone. But unfortunately, during this first roll of film, I had a major issue with my Minolta X-570. I need to find something to open the bottom of this camera with so I can change out the batteries, because every time I press the shutter release, nothing happens, but when I advance the film and let go, it automatically takes another photo. I brought backup batteries just in case these batteries were going dead, because I haven't replaced them since my trip to Montana in like 2023 or something. But European coins are too thick for the bottom of this. And I don't have any US ones, so I gotta figure this out. And I don't have my keys because I Ubered to the airport back in the US. Too thick. My hotel has a little kitchen and it has a knife. Yes. Ugh. I honestly thought I wasn't gonna be able to get this open and just not be able to shoot the other 3 rolls of film I have on this trip. Oh, you need scissors to get into this? Dog, why is this so hard? I hope this fixes the issue. I honestly don't know if it will, but this is like my only reliable camera. So let's turn it on and see. Oh no. Oh gosh. Okay, so I just did some searching online and it looks like this camera just needs to be fixed by a professional, which sucks because I've had this camera for 10 years now. This is what I got my film start with. This is really what got me into film photography. So when I send the film in, I'll see if any of the shots are still taking. Since there's already a roll in here, I'll try to finish it out by lining everything up, setting it to auto, and then lining it up like I am. And once I release the film lever, it takes the photo. So I'm gonna try to finish the roll of film that way. But here in Antwerp, there is a camera store, like a 30-minute walk, that sells old used film cameras. So maybe I'll go and see if there's something cheap that we can buy, because I still have 2 more rolls of film that I wanna shoot on this trip, because I'm here in Antwerp today. I'm in Bruges tomorrow and then Amsterdam the following day. And I booked these cities so I could take pictures. So let's go to that camera store and see if we can find something to replace my beloved Minolta X-570. I looked out that Antwerp has multiple vintage camera shops. So the first one I went to, I checked it out. They had a lot of options, and ultimately I was able to pick up a Minolta X-700. The Minolta X-700 is essentially just the bigger brother to the Minolta X-570. And the reason I stuck with Minolta, even though they had many other brands to choose from, is it was cheap, it was affordable, the plastic was still on the bottom of the camera, and it looks like it had never been used. It was in phenomenal condition, and I already had a Minolta lens on my X-570 that I could just transfer over to the 700. So with a new film camera in my arsenal, I decided I needed to try and finish the roll of film in the X-570 and then officially retire that camera. Yo, I just tried to take a photo with this and it worked totally normal. It was broken and now it works again. And it's bittersweet too, because the Minolta X-570 was my first ever film camera, and I love that camera so much. Was it perfect? No. The shutter count never worked. It has massive light leaks on random frames, but I love that camera. It's what got my start in film photography, and while it still might be working now, kind of, I just can't trust it anymore, so it's gonna have to go on the shelf and be retired. It's 5 a.m. here in Antwerp. I'm currently walking to the train station. Massive suitcase. On my way to Bruges today, so time to hit the train early. Hopefully I can store my bags at the hotel. I can't check in until like 3 p.m., but I want to spend the whole day exploring, so I should get there around like 7:30. It's not a long train ride, but I'm excited. Time for a new city. I got on the first train to Bruges simply with the hopes of potentially catching any glimpse of sunrise in that city. See, Bruges has this really cool architecture with their cathedrals, their Roman style to everything, and the cobblestone streets, and I knew I would just be kicking myself if I didn't try to catch sunrise. The forecast was showing clouds and no good weather the entire trip, but I didn't want to risk it. So I got up early, got on the train, and I got really lucky. The X-570 ended up working for the rest of the roll, made it just in time for golden hour sunrise. The roll is done, so we are going to wind the film back up, take the film out, and retire the Minolta X-570 now that we've got the X700. So I'm super stoked that I made it in time for sunrise this morning, and now I'm just praying that the photos turn out, because that was beautiful. But after my single day in Bruges, I packed up and went to Amsterdam. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't shoot much in Amsterdam. I just really wasn't feeling inspired. I was exhausted from the entire trip. I had walked 35 miles in just the previous 2 days in Belgium, so I was really exhausted. The weather was terrible. It was gray, it was cloudy, kind of rainy, it was really cold, and I live in Southern California, so my body's not used to the cold anymore, and I just spent most of the day in the hotel. But before I spent my day in the hotel, there was a town about 15 minutes outside of Amsterdam called Zaandam that I really wanted to see, just for these specific buildings that are green and blue. And overall, it didn't disappoint. I was really happy I went and saw it, but I was there for maybe 15 minutes, then got back on the train and went back to my hotel. And the reason I didn't really try so hard in Amsterdam for the one day I was there is because I'm actually gonna be back in Amsterdam in less than 2 months, and I'll be there for 8 days. So I'm gonna have plenty of time to get the shots I wanna get, and it's gonna be a lot warmer and hopefully better weather. So I really wasn't stressing about trying to make a million amazing images happen in Amsterdam. So now to address the question of this video, is 35mm film worth shooting in 2026? I think it is. Obviously, everyone has different preferences when it comes to photography, videography, and the things they enjoy. For me personally, I know I could have gotten technically better images shooting digital, but there's something about the experience of shooting with a film camera that makes me really reminisce on the images I got, even though they're soft, the lighting might be bad, they don't have dynamic range, the colors might not be amazing. When I look at those images, I'm putting myself back in the moment when I took that image, and that feels really special. Between the cost of buying the 4 rolls of film, scanning and developing that film, and buying a new camera body on this trip, I spent a total of $227 for 144 images. For what I got, that's expensive, but if we take out the cost of a new camera body, it only comes out to $127 for all those images, and that's less than $1 per shot, which in film terms isn't terrible. I mean, it's obviously not amazing. It's not what it was even 5-10 years ago, but it's still doable. And for me, it's still worth it. Sure, it makes more financial sense to bring a digital camera that I already own that costs a couple $1,000s, use that on all my trips, because at some point I will have gotten my money's worth out of this camera and lens, but it's not about getting my money's worth on these trips when it comes to capturing moments. So yes, while the cost of film cameras, lenses, and film stocks continues to increase year over year, I personally still believe it is worth shooting 35mm film in 2026. But I'd love to know what you think. Do you agree with me, or do you disagree and think that digital is where everyone should be putting their money, time, and effort? Let me know down below. And just as a gentle reminder, I'm a hobby photographer. This is not my profession. I don't get paid to take photos. I don't do this for social media. I don't do this for galleries or for other people. I capture these images simply because I love the experience and I want to have these memories on 35mm. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a like. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe. I'm going back to Europe 3 more times in the next few months, and I'm going to be documenting that entire journey on film. Each of those trips, I'll be bringing a film camera, different film stocks, and I've got some exciting plans for those videos, so subscribe to stay up to date on those. But that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out these other videos on screen right now if you enjoyed this one, and I will see you guys next time.